Black Cajun Sports makes it to the campus of one of Philadelphia's, I would have to say, elite institutions of, well, this is not higher learning, this is secondary learning, right?
Yeah, secondary.
This is secondary. And we're here with Mike Cook. And Mike, we're here today because it's about to be crunch time for a bunch of 8th graders across the city. You know, kids are trying to figure out what's the next step. And for better or for worse, things are a little different. You just told me what year you graduated, so I'm about 20 years older than you.
Okay.
And when I was coming through, there were all kinds of opportunities and venues for kids to learn. The city used to sponsor this 8th grade fair.
Okay.
And you could go. Have you ever been to this thing? The public schools, the charter schools, they used to have these big things, and the kid could go down there for a couple of days, and some of the private schools would be there, and you would just talk to people.
Was it an overnight thing, like a conference?
It wasn't overnight. It was. They would have it at like convention center or some other big hall.
Yeah.
And recently, I'd say over the past 6 or 7 years, they kind of did away with that.
Yeah.
And in the public schools especially, they had some budget crunches, and the guidance counselors were casualties of this.
Okay.
So in dealing with families over the past 4 or 5 years, one thing I've come to understand is that people just don't have a level of information that used to enable guys your age to make informed decisions.
Yeah.
So what we're doing today, and what we'll be doing over the next couple of months, is just trying to visit some places and give the schools a chance to make their pitch as to why families should choose their institution.
Right.
So I'm going to start with this question. Where did you go to elementary, middle school?
I went to elementary school in Darby, a place called Walnut Street Elementary School. Then I went to Penwood Middle School.
I did not know you're an enemy. I'm Darby Township. Academy Park.
Academy Park?
Yeah. And I was liking you too, man. Wow. All right. So you're young, and so our situations are very similar. So your family, you're coming up through the Pendelco. William Penn School District. William Penn School District, and you hit 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
You had some athletic ability.
A little bit, yeah.
And you gotta make this decision. Walk us through it. How did your mom and dad, how did y'all approach that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy, right? We have an opportunity to kind of move on to a different school, a different situation that'll put you in a better position.
How'd they find you? How'd you find them?
You know what, man? It was just basketball. I learned at an early age that basketball will open up a lot of doors for you. And then, my family was there with me on that ride.
Was it organized middle school basketball, AAU
It was
basketball?
AAU. I would go to these AAU tournaments with Championship Sports with Doc Wilson, who passed away a couple years ago. And I think Mr. Falwell saw me playing. Bob Falwell, who was my coach my first 2 years. He saw me playing, and then the word got, to Mr. Felsen and our admission staff, and the process got going from there. I was actually on a visit with another independent school, and they were playing Friend Central that day. And the admissions person from, my parents were speaking to an admissions person from Friend Central, but they thought they were speaking to an admissions person from Westtown.
Oh.
So the admissions person from Friend Central had no idea who I was at this time, but they were being nice and saying, "Oh yeah, I know who he's talking about." And my parents just thought that they were from Westtown. So my parents initiated the contact. They didn't come up to my parents. My parents initiated the contact. So they were speaking, and at the end of the day, they were like, "Who the heck is this kid?" Mike Cook. And then Coach Falwell came out and saw me play, and the admissions process got started from there.
So were you just a super duper star student? Were you straight A's?
I thought I was.
Percentile?
Listen, man, when I was at Penwood, I thought I was. I was in all accelerated classes. The pace, it was about 40 kids in our class. So all I did was kind of memorize the information and kind of just take tests or write my papers. But then when you come here, right, you get humbled a little bit. The class is a lot smaller, the spotlight's a little bigger. And it's discussion-based classes here. So the reason why I'm able to speak so well now, the reason why I'm able to speak so outwardly now is because of our discussion-based classes.
When you guys were trying to make the decision as a family, did your mom and dad listen to you, or did they say, "Yo, you going to Friends"?
No. This is the '90s, early 2000s. You did whatever your parents said. In fact, I came here with a full suit on my visit, right? And as you can see, our kids here, they dress the way they want to dress. But my dad told me to put that on, and that's what I did. Of course, it's a lot different now, right? The kids are making a lot more.
Kids have a lot of input.
Yeah. So just being back from overseas and kind of working in the missions is kind of eye-opening to me. But, it's great. Our kids are getting their voices heard. Whether they're coming from public school or private school, they're kind of getting their voices heard by their parents and by adults. So it's always
So you come here, 9th grade was your first year?
9th grade, yeah.
How was that adjustment?
It was tough, right? It was tough because I fought it so much. Right? I'm coming from a different environment. I'm just saying to myself, right, these people can't be this nice. They can't like me this much, right? They can't care this much. So I fought it for like 2 years. And I didn't really get it until my junior year.
How early did you have to wake up? They gave you a van or something from
Well, I had to catch
Darby?
a school bus from Darby.
Okay.
So I probably woke up at like 5:30.
Yeah.
Down the bus. I got here most days like 7:30, 7:45. But thankfully, end of my freshman year, sophomore year, and beyond, my teammate Ryan Tozer, the coach here now, came pick me up every morning. So he saved me some.
Oh, so he was driving.
Yeah, he was driving. That was the benefit going to school here. Everybody got cars, so I definitely took advantage of that. But yeah, he helped out a lot in that process.
Did your grades reflect the struggle you had adjusting when you first came?
When I came here, yeah, big time.
First time you ever really experienced that, right?
Yeah, it was the first time I ever really experienced those challenges. And the biggest challenge is probably just speaking up in class, just using my voice in class, sharing my opinions. Right, I was just so intimidated by how smart I thought these kids were. I thought they were so much smarter than me. But now that I'm back, I got older. I just realized they were just here a little bit longer than me, right? So they know how to be Friends Central kids. They're used to speaking up in class. They're used to the environment. So that's why now I'm trying to encourage kids, if you get into middle school, to do it then. Because that 9th grade year, coming from a public school, coming from the bigger classrooms, is such a big adjustment. But like we said, a lot of these kids are different now. They're a lot different than I was. They have social media now, so they know what's going on at these private schools. They know what's going on in the suburbs. When I came to visit here, that's my first time on City Line Avenue, ever. Right?
We a lot alike, man.
Yeah, so,
we come that little corner of Delaware County.
Yeah,
we don't venture out too far.
It was like a whole new world to me, and that was a big reason why I fought it. Right? I thought that these people didn't like me. Suburban people, they don't like city kids or kids that aren't rich or anything like that. And I was completely wrong about that.
So you say it took you about 24 months to really adjust?
Yeah, man, it took a while, and I'm sure my teachers can attest to that.
How about athletically? Did you fit right in as a freshman?
Yeah, I fit right in. I was a starter on the varsity team
as a freshman.
Yeah, it was kind of my show.
As a freshman?
Yeah. There's a big reason why I chose this school. Mr. Felson was a big part of it. I knew how passionate he was about sports. Well, my dad knew. I didn't choose anything. My dad knew how passionate he was about sport. They talk all the time. They used to talk all the time. So it was a no-brainer for me. So when I came here, he just made me feel so comfortable. My teammates wanted me to be the man once they saw what I could do on the court. And that summer, we spent a lot of time playing AAU basketball. There used to be an AAU team here called Philly Blue, I think. So that kind of helped me ease into the school. Jason Polikoff, who used to coach here as well, was a big help for me. He used to bring me around. He was my first friend here. So everybody I met was because of Jason Polikoff.
So by 11th, 12th grade, you got it figured out all the way around
I thought I did. Kind of, right? It's a tough school. Once you fall behind, it's tough to get caught up. I eventually caught up. My grades were never great, right? So you don't have to be an AB student to kind of be successful here. The teachers will push you to be that. And if they see more in you, they'll push to get more out of you. But once I transitioned to college, it was just a walk in the park. It was a piece of cake from there.
Did you guys start winning here?
My freshman year, we won. So the year before I got here, the team was 0-21. It was. So that's why the head of school was kind of on it. My freshman year, we went to the championship. Lost to Adams and France. It was really tough. Luber brothers, Ben Slater.
Ben's a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
so is
that's
Ben
my
Luber.
guy. And Roundtree, I can't remember. I think he went there or Germantown. I forgot what school he went to. They had a really tough team. So we lost to them my freshman and sophomore year in the championship game. And then, my junior and senior year, we were the cream of the crop.
So by 10th, 11th grade, you figure I'm a Division I player?
You know what, man? And this is where my dad's influence comes in, right? He never let me read anything about me. He preached that Michael Jordan, never read an article about him, right? And that's why I feel that's why a lot of people kind of forget about me, because I just don't.
Sell yourself.
I played basketball. I was pretty good. Now I'm trying to help kids, right? I'm not going to speak on my legacy. I'm not going to fight for my legacy.
But what I'm trying to get at is, when did you realize that you could make it athletically, academically from French Central?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't
Yeah.
a powerhouse athletically. I'm
Right.
sure you had classmates that knew they were going to go to Penn, knew they were going to go to Yale, knew they would go to William and Mary, Hartford, Bryn Mawr. But your path would be on the athletic side as well as the academic side.
Yeah.
So did the recruiting really get intense, 11th, 12th grade year?
I mean, it was intense since my freshman year, to be honest with you. I just never paid attention to it, man. I guess I finally knew.
So how'd you make the choice? You went
my senior year, it literally boiled down to my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
I think I signed to Providence first, took my SATs late. That's how out of it I was. I just wanted to play ball. Got my SAT scores back late, so then I had to. Providence moved on to another kid. I'm pretty sure they regret that to this day, Gerald Brown. So I had to go to prep school for a season. And I went there and kind of just, down in New Hampton, did my thing up there. And I had a lot of offers from out of there, right? I had Marquette, who was waiting for Dwayne Wade to decide whether or not he was going to go to the NBA. So I had that offer on the table. Memphis was taking a hard look. I forgot all the other schools. It was a lot of, nice schools. And I decided East Carolina. Same reason why I decided French Central, right? There's a program that was, kind of down. I'm not going to say in terms. It was kind of down. It was at the time, a top 5 conference, Conference USA, before all the teams moved on. And I had an opportunity to step in right away.
Who was the head coach there?
Billy Herring.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the head coach there. And I had a chance to try to turn it around just like I did here, so.
Did French Central prepare you to transition from high school to college? When you hit the ground in college, did you have that same struggle that you had from middle school?
No, it was the complete opposite, right? I even fell behind a little bit because it was so easy, right? So I wouldn't go to class some days, the 8:30 classes, because of it. I just do the work, right? I knew that. So after a while, I kind of, buckled down and said I have to do this. But yeah, the transition was pretty easy. I knew time management. I knew how to socialize, how to meet with teachers if I struggled with anything. I wasn't intimidated by adults, the big classrooms or anything like that. I wasn't scared to speak up in class if I had a question or something. I mean, I was just a totally different person in my 4 years here, right? So I always imagine, what if I came in 6th grade? What if I came in 7th or 8th grade? It's a lot different.
One of the things we don't talk about in Philadelphia, and I think it's in part because a lot of people don't know, but I also think in part because people just don't like to talk about, I guess, what they would consider dirty laundry.
Okay.
The test scores, the recent test scores for some of the really top athletic programs in the Philadelphia Public League have come out. And there are schools where 93, 94% of the kids attending the school cannot pass the state test.
Okay.
This is in math and science.
Yeah.
80% are under the passing threshold in reading.
Right.
I mean, these are really outstanding athletic programs. And I see families and kids, like you say, the kids have a lot of input these days. And so they see what's in the paper and they see the kids, the teams that are playing and doing well, winning championships, and they want to go there. And nobody talks about the other stuff.
Yeah.
And what happens, and I see it a lot, is the guys go away to college.
Struggle.
And the struggle is intense. You know, guys will call you, they're crying, they trying hard.
Yeah.
But they just weren't prepared.
Right.
So, I say all that to say, what is your pitch to these 7th and 8th grade kids that are out here and their parents right now facing that really important decision?
Yeah. As far as the academics go, I mean, the schools are going to be the schools, right? We have all the information these days. We know that these tests are coming up, right? There's social media, there's Google. We have all this information. We have to prepare for them. There's no more excuses, right? I don't care if it's too many people in the classroom. I don't care if it's problems at home, right? We have to start prioritizing our youth, our kids, right? And it takes people like me, right? It takes people who have been at the Division I level, who have been at the pro level, who can come back and tell these kids that these test scores, these grades, they're not going to cut it, right? There's a whole other world outside of this school. I've never been to City Avenue before, right? There's a whole other world on the other side of City Avenue, right? There's all these different places that's bigger than this one space that you're in. And even though they see it on social media, they're not hearing it enough from us, right? So there's a message to be given to the youth and the kids and their parents, but there's also a message to be given to us as former athletes and former pro ball players.
A lot of the families, they're going to watch this and they're going to say, yeah, they did that for Mike, but they're going to look online and they're going to see tuition here is what, 40, 44, 43?
Nah, it's in the third. It's close to 40.
All right. Let's round it off.
Just under 40.
Yeah,
just under 40. And they're going to be intimidated by that. Should they be?
No.
Right?
That's my responsibility, right? I'm in admissions. I'm also helping with athletics, but I was also in their shoes, right? I was on financial aid when I came here. There's no way we could afford 20-something, I think 25,000 at that time when I was here, right? There's financial aid. Our financial aid is need-based, right? I know a lot of people are looking for these scholarships, right? But a scholarship caps you at a certain number, right? So a school or a program may offer you $20,000 in scholarship, but your family needs 28, right? So our need-based system kind of gives you what you need in financial aid.
To make it work.
To make it work. And we're more than happy to work with you, right? We want these kids to have their lives changed. We want to be that place for that. And being here, I can kind of help spread that message to these neighborhoods and these families.
What if I'm a B student, not an A student? You know, I'm an okay test taker. You know, and I'm just like you were, a little bit intimidated by the notion of, you know, leaving Southeast Delco or William Penn and coming to a challenging place like this. Should they fear that? Do you have the resources available to help kids make that transition?
Make that adjustment?
Is there a summer program, a bridge program for new kids coming from?
Yeah, so we have our Trailblazer camp. If you have basketball families, we have our basketball reading and math clinic, which is what I did. We will try to pair them up with their potential teammate, their future teammate. Like I said, Jason Polyakov was for me. But there's no fear, right? There's no fear until you actually do it, right? That's the problem with us, right? We have all these
preconceived notions.
In our mind. You know, the aid is financial aid available, but people don't know that, right? And that's a big reason why I came back to admissions, because I know how Friends Central works. I know how fair Friends Central is. I know how much Friends Central wants to get out to the community, and I feel like I'm one of the people here that can, you know, do that. And because I play ball, I can speak from that perspective, whether they play baseball, soccer, basketball, whatever. And I can tell them about the recruitment piece going off to college, right? There's a lot of information that I have for these people. And, you know, it's my first year really getting into it. I feel like that message definitely needs to be out
you
there.
also have some really outstanding examples of kids who come from backgrounds similar to ours that are going on. I mean, we got Skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Skinny did what, 10, 12? How many NBA years?
9.
And
They
then
cut
how
him
many overseas after that?
He's still there. He's still there.
You old Skinny, hands getting there.
He's still there, yeah.
And then we got DeAndre Hunter, who
Yep.
is embarking on his journey. I don't know if it'll be this year, but it could be.
It's going to be one of these years. If it's
Yeah.
not this year, that kid could play.
And
Emil Jefferson.
NCAA champion.
He's two-way contract with the Orlando Magic now. Mustafa Shakur. We all know Styles' story. Top 5 in the country, All-American. Mill was also All-American.
Right,
those are the bigger names, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our crew of, we have Devin Coleman's just finished at Temple. He's back here. Travis Robinson, Don Morris, and that crew. I know I'm leaving a lot of people out.
But
yeah,
I think they get the message, and the message is really that no matter what your goals are athletically, there's no limit here. Because these guys have absolutely gone on to become high school All-Americans, NCAA champions, NBA players. So there's really no limit.
No.
But you have to be willing to step up and take the challenge.
Yeah, it takes courage, right? It takes courage to put your financial situation out there. It takes courage to be told no, right? It's a risk. A lot of people don't want to take that risk.
You might not get admitted.
You might not get admitted, but there's always next year, and you keep applying, right? You keep going for the better things, but you're also showing your kid that there's a different side, right? This is what you're working for. This is what you have to look forward to, right? It may not happen at Friends Central. They may have to stay at public school. They may have to stay at whatever school.
Might have to go to Catholic school.
But now they know that the world is so much bigger than
Options.
that. You have your options, right? Basketball got you here on this visit to Friends Central. Keep applying yourself in school. Keep applying yourself on the court. Those same options will be available for college.
Well, as you know, from just the little bit we put out a couple weeks ago, people respond. There are parents who are really going to want to take advantage of this stuff we're talking about. How do they reach out to you?
The best way is just by email.
What's that?
mcook@friendscentral.org. That's the best way.
If they want to do a little research before that, how do they get it? What's the Friends Central website?
We have our website, friendscentralschool.org or friendscentral.org. Friendscentral.org is our
Is
school
there an
website.
athletic button at the top of that?
All
they
that's
can check
on
it
there.
out.
Yeah, we have pictures, everything. They can learn all about our athletic program. If they want to reach out to our athletic director, it's mcroley@friendscentral.org. M. Crowley, Michelle Crowley, responds to everything. Right.